They're in that black folder I have.
Oh. I need both.
And then we said we didn't get it.
Welcome to my world.
We said we didn't get it and tried to do something else. We said, no, you gotta finish your math. And we're like,
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. 9-6 factor ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not just 1. Okay, that's the key part. When a is 1, everybody knows what to do, right?
Yeah.
It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you need to learn how to factor this with a being something different. Example 1, we got 4 examples. You'll catch on. It's not easy, so don't hold your breath assuming it's going to be. Suffocate. Okay? Alright, so a is 3 at this point, so you cannot factor it the same way you did before. But the same rules apply as far as your factors are concerned. You got to pick 2 factors that multiply together give you 5. You also have to pick 2 factors of this, when multiplied together, give you 3. Now here's the thing. Whenever we did our binomials, what went in these first positions? X, right? The square root of this. So x went in there. But here's the problem. You got a 3 there. You now have to have the factors of this number that go in these positions. Luckily for you, this example, there's only 2 factors of 3, 1 and 3. So we're going to put 3 here and leave that as 1x. So, everybody got that part?
Yes.
Okay, when there's more factors, that's when this gets very complicated. But that's too bad. You're going to still have to figure it out. It's called guessing and checking until you figure it out. Eventually, you'll get good at it. And once that happens, I'll go ahead and show you the easier way.
Wow.
It's not that easy, but it is easier.
Oh.
I don't do the other way because this way, to me, is now by far easier because I'm good enough at it. You will get there, but only if I force you to do it. If I give you the other steps of how to figure it out, you're not ever going to really learn how to do this quickly. Okay? All right, and the last 2 positions have to be factors of 5, which needs to be either 1 and 5 or 5 and 1. Now that's where it gets complicated. You have to figure this out. Again, I gave you the easy problem. These are all pluses, so these are going to be pluses. Remember when a was 1, if it was all plus, it was going to be plus in each of your binomials. Same thing goes with this. Now, either the 1 goes here and the 5 goes here, or vice versa. Here's how you can think ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put these in here. Don't do anything yet. You already know that 3x times x is x squared, and you already know that the 1 times the 5 is the 5. Notice I didn't do this one, and I didn't do this one, right? Okay. So, these are the 2 that I'm looking at. This one that I did here, and these outside ones. These 2 answers represent the middle 2 terms when you did FOIL. And the middle 2 terms were always like terms that you had to put together. Watch, don't write this down. I'm going to go ahead and figure this out. 3x plus 1 and x plus 5. If at the beginning of the chapter we had to put these together, you did 3x squared, 15x, right?
Yeah.
And then you did that, and you got 1x, and then you did that, and you got 5. So notice that these 2 are these here, right? The middle 2 terms are always like terms that you had to add together. That's 16x.
No.
That doesn't work, right?
No.
My point is, when you place your factors in the positions, you already know that these are going to work. You're going to get those answers because you chose the factors, right? Okay, all you have to do is think ahead for your positions to see what these middle terms are going to be. So I look at this before I even write anything down, and I think, well, that's 1x and that's 15. That's going to be 16x. There's no way that's right. So I'm going to switch it and see. That's 5x. That's 3x. Does everybody understand what I'm doing? I'm multiplying these together. 5x. 1 times 3 is 3x. Isn't that 8x?
Yep.
So you can go ahead and write it like this if you want, just to check it, or you can just leave it and do it the way I did it. Alright, so now I know that this is my 2 binomials, 3x plus 5 and x plus 1. That was very fast for an easy problem. I'm going to slow it down for the stuff when we change the signs, okay? Now, Listen. Mr. Lockwood. Yes, yes. Okay. Emily, my advice to you is you're going to have to guess and check the factors that go in these two positions and guess and check those that go in these two. And just, you got to check all this to make sure it works. And you got to assign the signs depending on what it is to make it work.
See ya, Emily.
Alright, so notice here that positive 5 and times positive 1 does give me positive 5. And this was a positive 5x and that was a positive 3x to give me positive 8x. So signs do matter in this. You're going to be thinking about the signs, you got to be thinking about multiple factors. And you just can't look at it and do it. You got to actually write it out and try to think ahead a couple steps. And the only way for you to get good at it is to practice. So let's go on and do another example. Example 2. 2x squared minus x plus 6. Again, this is just a little bit harder. What are factors of 2?
2 and 1.
Alright, 2 and 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2x and x in. Everybody agrees that that gives me 2x squared. Awesome. Factors of 6. Tell me what they are.
3 and 2 and 6.
1 and 6 and 3 and 2. Now, guess what? You're just going to have to pick until you get quick enough to think ahead. So I'm just going to pick 1 and 6. Now, think with me. Everybody look up here so you don't have these questions. These two multiplied together have to give me positive 6. So if I make them both positive, when I add the middle ones together, am I going to get a negative? So how do I make these two multiplied together to give a positive number, and when added together give me a negative?
Both negatives.
Thank you. You won the prize for the day. That's huge that you got that. Now you just have to plug and chug to see if this is right. This is minus 1. This is minus 12. Does that give me minus 1?
No.
Okay, let's switch them. 6 and 1.
No.
Negative 6. All right, so see how you quickly recognize that it's not working? Yes
Yeah.
or no?
Yes.
Not really.
What is this? This is negative 6x, right?
Yeah.
This is negative 2x. Add those together, you're going to get negative 1x. Okay, so 1 and 6 are definitely not my answers because we tried both ways. So now we got to try 3 and 2. Again, as you do more of these, you'll start to think further ahead and you'll be able to become quicker at which ones will be close to an answer versus the ones that won't be close. Okay, I knew 1 and 6 weren't going to be close. In my head, I can see that 1 and 6 with the factors of 2 are not going to give me anywhere near 1, but 3 and 2 are going to. All right, so this is negative 3, that's negative 4.
Yes.
Negative 7?
No.
No, that's not right either. Well, is this going to work either? What did I do, 2 and 3?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Negative 2, negative 5, that doesn't work either.
So it's not possible.
What?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. If you if you put the 3, if
It does?
Well, no, but.
okay, no
It
solution.
does not have to be possible.
Really?
I did that, so I did it early, so you would understand that just because we're learning factoring, that doesn't mean it happens all the time. In chapter 10, we deal with these types that won't factor. Alright. So, not factorable. I think all your homework problems are factorable.
Mr. Lockwood,
Don't forget that.
do you think we could do number 8 just to make sure that I'm doing it right? Because I just did. Yeah.
Well, the question is, did you check it?
Yeah, and I think it works.
Well then, you're fine. You don't need to look at it. All you
Wait,
have to
no,
do
no,
is-
no.
All you have to do is multiply the two back together and see if it works.
But I need to get a negative p and it's a positive p.
Alright, give me what number 8 is.
Okay, number 8 is negative 3p squared minus 10p minus 3. And what I get is I get the negative 9p but then the 1 to make it 10 is positive, so it'd be negative 8p.
Alright, so 3p, p, everybody watch, we'll just use this, I'll just use the positive. I changed all the signs, I took a negative to the outside, I don't like dealing with negatives on my A, so I take that out to begin with, alright?
So
So,
don't you gotta switch all the signs then?
I did. Positive, positive, positive. Switch
Oh,
both
okay.
sides. So,
So you're-
factors of 3, 3p and 1p.
Yeah.
Factors of 3, 1 and 3. Now think before we go. I'm trying to get you to think ahead.
It's gotta be 9 and 1, so
Yes, so where does the 3 need to go?
on the other one, that's what I did.
That's right. 1 and 3, this is all positive. Okay? Now, is that all it's asking for you to factor it?
Yeah, I mean, I just got it this year.
Okay, these are the types of answers I'm going to take. I'll take this as an answer, which I'd rather you do it like this. But if you don't do it like this, then you got to distribute this -1 through one of these parentheses. You can't do it through all of them. What you're saying, -1 times A times B, you're telling me that that's the same thing as -A times -B?
Oh.
Okay, so you can only distribute through one of them, all right? But I'd rather you leave it like this. Okay, makes it easier to solve your other stuff. All right,
Okay, thank you. Because I saw what I was doing.
let's do example 3 here. 4x squared minus 6x minus 10. So look at all the different possibilities. Factors of 4 are 4 and 1 and 2 and 2. Factors of 10, 1 and 10, 2 and 5. You have lots of different possibilities. So either plug and chug until you get it, or really take some time to think ahead. Immediately,
2 and 2.
the first thing I do, I got to get to 6 somehow. So I'm just going to do 4x and x. No rhyme or reason.
Oh,
I'm just showing you how I go through this. I'm thinking of 4s and 1s. How do I get that? Maybe, well, that'd be, if I do 4 times 2, that's 8. 1 times 5 is 5. That's not going to give me 6, right? 10 and, well, 10 times, or 4 times 1 is 4, 10 times 1 is 10. The difference of 4 and 10 is 6, right? So let's do that. Raise your hand. Where do you think the 10 and the 1 should go? I want you guys to think about this. I want somebody to raise their hand and tell me. Okay? Where do you think the 10 and the 1 should go?
10 in that one and the 1 in that one.
And why do you say that?
Because 4 times 4.
Yeah, because you know that you got to multiply these together and those two together. So that's where I get the 4, that's where I get the 10. Now, multiply 10 and 1 together, I got to get -10. When I add these things together, I got to get -6. Which one needs to be bigger, negative?
10.
All it takes is a little thought process. If you can't get that, then you have to pick and plug and chug until you figure it out. I sat in your seats and I did exactly that until I figured it out, until it clicked. Once it starts to click, think it. Sometimes it just takes you a while. I still have to look at it and think through it. I made this problem up. I had to think through it. Okay? That's just what the way it is, yeah.
So the bigger negative gets the subtraction, or the minus?
Because a -10x and a +4 will give me a -6. And
So
a
if the-
-10 times a negative, or +1 gives me -10.
If the last number is negative, 1's negative and 1's positive, and if the middle number is negative, then the bigger one is negative. If the bigger number is positive, then the bigger number is positive.
Yes. But you need to make sure that works each time. Don't just assume that's the same every
Well, it
time.
makes sense, but that's only if the last number is negative.
Right.
I'm still.
Let's try something else then.
And if the middle number is positive,
Shh. No. Okay. I got you. They don't need to hear
I
that.
know, but I'm just making sure.
6x squared plus 17x. The way to make sure. See, now here's your last number's negative. The
So,
way to make sure is just to check it. All right, factors of 6, 1 and 6, 3 and 2, 14, 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Again, we only have 4 sets. You're going to have some that you have more than that. All Alright? The more practice you get, the better you're going to be at it. Alright, I got to get to positive 17. This last one, when I multiply, my factors have to be negative. So that means when I add the two middle terms together, one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. And the difference needs to be positive 17. So I need to have a big difference here. Okay, so put your hand down. Let's go ahead. Since I need big differences, I'm going to use big numbers. I'm going to use 6x and x, and I'll use 1 and 14, just as a thought process. And I know how to work through this. I'm trying to get you to see how to begin thinking through it, all right? That gives me 1x, that's 70 something,
Wow.
84. What is that, 60 and 24, 84? That's way too big. Oh, let's not do that. Let's try 2 and 7. Well, that's 42. No, I don't want to do that. How about 7 and 2? 7 and 12. The difference of 7 and 12 is not going to give me 17. I'm getting really frazzled now. Nothing's working.
Another pair of
Oh, we still have another pair. All right, let's do 3x and 2x. Are you following me on how this works? Sometimes you're just going to have to fiddle with the numbers and try to work it out. Luke, go ahead.
I think it's 1 and 14.
So if we do this, 3 times 14 is 42, and that's 2.
No, the other way.
All right, see the other way?
No, it's 2 and 7.
2 and 7?
Yeah.
21 and 4 gives me 17, right?
Yeah, but it's on the wrong
Shh.
end.
Stephanie, where's the sign need to be? I got to get a positive 17 from the numbers 21 and 4. How do I get positive 17? That's right. So this should be a negative. This needs to be a positive. Who's with me?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you do number 10.
Yes, I can.
Wait, I need number 9.
I'm not doing your problems for you. I'll look at them and tell you, give you some hints. Okay, so you have your assignment written down. Page 596,
Yeah, you do.
4 to 37, all. Mixed review evens.
What?
Oh, he didn't tell us
You
which
can
one.
also, you can look in the back of the TV. Yeah, but